Brothers and sisters, what's going on? Brother Hayru Horse. We're gonna briefly talk about our transportation in the past. Alright. And this is all part of the awakening. This is all part of enlightenment. This is all part of information. This is not for entertainment purposes. I don't do anything for entertainment purposes. You see, some brothers and sisters are so scared of the system. This is for entertainment purposes only. This is informational purposes only. Right? The cars that you see that we're driving around, literally reverse engineered. Okay? Look at the back of the cars where it says brake lights. You see, whatever. Those are thrusters. What we had was just some extremely powerful and energetic vehicles that were able to glide off the ground. See, the thing about it is that the Saxon-based beings, or even Orientals, could not use this system because it was too radioactive for their bodies. In other words, the radiation was so freaking high, it caused a disruption in their electrical system within their bodies. Our bodies run on electricity. Alright? There's a body that doesn't contain a certain amount of radioactive magnetic frequencies. That body cannot operate. Okay? That body cannot operate. That body cannot function. So it was our ancestors that taught them how to make cars that will be suitable for them. In the midst of it all, for then we were traveling the vehicles that flew in the air, that flew just above the surface of the ground. When they were enslaving us, we had vehicles that flew above the surface of the water and go way over the water. This is the type of technology we had while we were picking cotton. That's the ones that are captured. We have an enemy that wants this idea. They want to erase these memories, that'll keep these memories away from us by make us think but the only thing that we could use is what they prescribe for us to use. And here's the thing about it, brothers and sisters, it's not about their prescription. They can't prescribe anything to use for us because they don't know how to teach us. And that's why their whole school system that they created when it comes to our brothers and sisters, young and old, and actually we're not old nor young when it comes to our brothers and sisters of all aspects of life. We literally just overtake their entire system. We just engulf their entire system. We take it over. So the whole key point, brothers and sisters, for us to understand is that the vehicles that we had look just like what we were driving, except they were a bit different. They were a bit different. They could glide. They ran on crystal technologies and plutonium technology. We had radioactive frequency. A brother in the land called Africa, I think he was in Nigeria or Uganda, one of them, and he said he got a message from God because he's so miseducated on ancestral knowledge. He don't understand that these were the ancestors who were giving him information on how to create that vehicle that ran on radioactive frequencies. On how to create that vehicle. Alright. Well, it was the one that created that ran on radio frequencies, and another that created that ran on the magnetic field of the planet. And both of these brothers said they dropped out of school. They just started building. Because that's ancestral shit. It's ancestral shit. So these cars you see driving around, these trucks that you see, these buses that you see at one point, we were able to fly in them. And the engines were much different because it didn't require all the oil and the fuel and the antifreeze. It didn't require the steering fluid. It didn't require the brake fluid, all these different fluids that's there. You see, it didn't require all of that. Understand that? It didn't require transmission fluids. None of that was required, because the machines, the vehicles that we did work off the energy of our bodies, the energy of the planet. We talked about this before, about the orgone system. You get the orgone system set up where we can tap into them, where we could tap into the system. We had vehicles that ran on plasma energy, photon energy, that ran on certain gases and minerals. So all these cars and trucks you see driving around, well, they're nothing but ships. And there's ships that can't fly anymore. There's ships that can't hover anymore. And tractors too. There's ships that can't glide anymore. That's all they are, is they're ships. That's all they are, is they're ships. It's something for you all to think about. I'm not going to stretch this out. I'm not going to be long about this because I'll start being repetitive. And I hate being repetitive. I really hate being repetitive. So, we're looking at the fact that when this grand solar flash happens, actually before the grand solar flash happens, you got brothers and sisters already linking into different areas of power. We talk about power, we talk about knowledge. Alright? Knowledge is power, brothers and sisters. Understanding how things work, how things operate. I'm looking at these cars and I'm like, okay, I remember the thrusters, nigga, at the back of the car. And I remember we did have lights on the front of these vehicles, because when it became night, we were traveling and we got lights. We would turn the lights on so we could turn our way through the darkness. So that was day and night. So at one point there was sunlight for a very, very long time in this realm. At one time we had a sun rising in the west, and that sun was rising in the west and settling in the east. By the sun set in the east, there is the sun that rose in the east and set in the west. See what I'm saying? I mean, at one point we had that. And there's just the different phases this realm go through, and these Saxons can't understand that. It's not meant for them to understand. But the vehicles, and they're constantly making vehicles look like ships. You see the Ferrari and the Maserati and the new BMW and the Hyundai. You got the new Mercedes. What are they looking like? They're looking like ships. Why are these cars looking like ships? This is what we actually traveled in. We traveled in those. We were able to lift up off the ground. Now we're starting to regain this information, this type of technology. We took the time to make sure they're miseducated, so that when we can only think on the level that they desire for us to think, and not have us think on a higher level. I told you, brothers and sisters, you gotta defeat your enemies in the method that they can't defend themselves. See, the vehicle that we had that were running on crystal technology. You were talking about crystals. You talk about a crystal engine, a crystal or a plutonium-based engine that's constantly in motion, and it's got these plasma points on each end of it because we knew how to harness plasma. We knew how to harness different gases, the oxygen, the helium, the nitrogen. We knew how to harness those gases, and we taught our enemies. And what they did, they came around and they took the liberty of miseducating us because we allowed this to miseducate us. Our ancestors, our forefathers did that. Allowed them to educate us because I don't know why. I don't know what it is. Some kind of settlement, some kind of agreement we made, which we thought was going to be the better. Not us. Our ancestors knew, because now they know because they're watching us from other realms and from other dimensions, and they're like, wow, we really, really fucked up this time. We really fucked up. We should have never did that. They're like in an apologetic form because they didn't understand what was gonna happen. So the answers of it all, brothers and sisters, we are looking at times in the in the area of change. I've been wanting to get a car frame, so a frame, so I can, and some so I can think. I just need it to be there. Well, how long will it take for me to make it? And would I have other brothers and other sisters who would want to build with me, who want to create with me? Do I have brothers and sisters that are into technology and ancient technology? It's like these things that we're gaining back. We're starting to understand. We're starting to get visions. We're starting to get thoughts. Because this all belonged to us. So these beings actually thought that we were going to hold us back and keep information for us, for their I guess, power, so-called power that they had. And they thought that they were going to do this, and now they realize that they can't because we're still rising. So just something to think about. Ancient technology. We had it written on the walls. And like in that video the other day, but the vehicles we traveled in, we didn't have ground problems. We didn't have ground problems. We had extremely powerful vehicles that literally ran on all different types of energies, all different types of frequencies, all different types of metals, all different types of crystals. We had that, and we could get it back. It's just going to take brothers and sisters to come together and put our hands together. See, they need us to fight against each other. They need us to think they're over each other. They need us to fight in an earlier message. They need us to fight for peanuts. They need us to fight for peanuts. Kill each other. Oh, you got some Cartier glasses. That's peanuts. You got a Carhartt jacket. That's peanuts. Feel me? Oh, you got all this money in your pocket. That's peanuts. That money ain't shit. That's peanuts. So we killing each other over nothing. Because we've been duped that we have something that has a Saxon's name on it, or a Saxon's label on it. Then we're a part of something. Oh, I got this Michael Kors. I got the new Michael Kors. So what? So what? So what? So you're gonna put this man's name on you? You gonna label yourself? That's the whole thing about it, is they want us to be labels. It's bad enough brothers and sisters are owned by corporations in a prison system. We out here labeling ourselves? Oh, I'm gonna mark Michael Kors. I'm on Pele down. Who's Pele? See what I'm saying, nigga? So we gotta stop running after peanuts. start realizing that it's gonna take us to become an advanced being, each one of us, to become an advanced being, to become a being of this absolute, the absolute power, the absolute 0 point energy, and the absolute. So you look at these cars, they're nothing but ships. There's nothing. That's nothing that they are. That's what they are. They're rolling on the ground instead of ships flying in the air the way our ancestors had it. And we think we're doing something, and they're enjoying this because we're saying, okay, we can't drive as fast as we want to drive because we're gonna stop and we're gonna say, you were breaking our laws. We're breaking our laws, and we're gonna give you this piece of paper with some writing on it, and then you're gonna have to go to the court system that we created, so that you can give them some money. And if you can't provide the money, then we gonna put you in jail. You see the system that they created, brothers and sisters. You start creating and designing shit. Start taking yourself back to a higher learning. Start thinking about these high-powered fans. Start thinking about crystal and plutonium. Look up, how do you harness nitrogen? How do you harness helium? Look it up. Look it up. This is the whole thing about it. I want you all to become the brightest and the most powerful beings ever. Look up how to harness these gases. Look up how to harness plasma. It's something for you to think about, because we are the only beings who can literally change everything, but they're the only ones that can change everything. When we start going back in the technology we come from, like you said, George Lucas, and when I did studies on George Lucas. But school is so indefinite right now. And he said in that in his autobiography that he wrote, he said in there that Star Wars was based upon Atlantean technology. He went to school to study Atlantean technology. And who are the Atlanteans? The so-called African American and Latin American people. He said Star Wars was based on our history, culture. All those buildings, the world fairs and all that shit, they destroyed all those buildings so that we could not go back to what we come from. Because when you start looking at Star Wars, you see those ancient buildings. These are the buildings that we lived in. You see all the other Star Wars. When the Anakin Skywalker, you saw how they made their ships. We created our ships. We built the vehicles we traveled in. We didn't have a VIN number. We didn't need a license plate. We didn't need a license. We didn't need a registration. We didn't need insurance. We didn't need a gasoline. We didn't need oil. We didn't need transmission fluid. We didn't need antifreeze. We didn't need steering power fluid. We didn't need fucking brake fluid. No, we didn't need all that shit. No. We had spark plugs. Yes, spark plugs was something that was ancient. We had spark plugs. Then there's a spark is inside of the spark plug. Inside of the spark plug is a crystal. That spark plug can only work for so long. So we had spark plugs with crystals in them. We created them. We were the inventors. We had engines, but the engines were much different than the engines are now. These engines are suitable for mankind and not really suiting for us. That's why many of us trying to figure out this engine and be like, you have to damn near go to school just to find out how the engine works. Then you got some brothers and sisters that are literally proficient. They know the engine back and forth because they came from a past life. Like I know wood back and forth. That's something in my past life that I already know. Young brothers and sisters are efficient computer technology like me. That's in a past life. I know how to use an iPhone really goodly. So we must remember that the ancient technology that we had was the ancient technology that literally ran on different frequencies and different vibrations, different metals, different crystals, all types of things. Something for y'all to think about. like I said, I'm not going to be too long with this. Something for y'all to think about. Through these cars we see driving around, the trucks, the buses, they are all ships. That they're all pre-models of ships that don't fly, but it's been reversed so they don't fly. All right, the engineering has been reversed so it can be more suitable for mankind. Because what we had is so fucking radioactive that we could be disrupting their organ system in their body and disrupted the electrical charge of their bodies, and their bodies couldn't contain this energy, and they were dying as they were trying to operate what we created. Yes, yes, yes. And I want to tell you this shit. So brothers and sisters, ancient technology is within us. All the shit is within us. All the shit's within us. And after this great solar flash that happened, what they call this great eclipse, I know deep within me, I know deep within me, that a lot of these thoughts are going to come back to us. So, I'll catch you guys later. Y'all, let's start thinking, let's start building, let's start studying, y'all. But all these vehicles that we see right here are ships, and they're rolling on the ground cars. Brake lights and all those things, those were once thrusters into the sky. And we had different types of technology where the thrusters, and we knew how to make the vehicles raise up off the ground. We created vehicles that ran on magnetic fields. We created vehicles that ran on electromagnetic fields. We had vehicles that ran on static electricity. I mean, come on now. It's so much. So much, because each of us had our own, each tribe had their own vehicle that they used as well. Each tribe. Yes. Know these tribes here? The Chickasaw, the Anasazi, the Carolina, the York tribe, the Kansas tribe, the Washington tribe, all these different tribes, the Tennessee tribe, the Alabama tribe, the Wisconsin tribe, the Ohio, the Iowa. These are all different tribes, and each tribe had their own, each type of technology that we use, but we worked together. We didn't fight amongst each other. And this is what the society system don't want, but it doesn't want us to work together. It doesn't want us to put our minds together. This is what's happening right now, brothers and sisters, all right? Catch you guys later. Let's continue to build, and let's continue to grow, and continue to make this power happen, all right? Much power to you all.